Hello there, people of the internet, YouTube reviewer. All magazines shown today are either 20 round capacity or less. The Hex mags are actually a 15 round capacity. But that being said, I did an unboxing for Radical Firearms AR-15 not too terribly long ago. So if you'd like to see the actual unboxing where I, have it from where it was shipped from, and I cut open the box and we actually look at the rifle, the contents, what it actually came with, and have a look at how it was packaged, etc., etc. Go ahead and go check out that video that was previously done. Today we're out here at the gun range and we're actually going to run this rifle. I have a couple of different magazines that I want to run from this rifle. We're going to go ahead and see what kind of group size we get. I got a pizza box out there at 40 yards and that's going to serve as our target so we can test for group size. Now what I have here is I have a Radical Firearms RF-15, and the advertisement said that it was Magpul furniture that was going to be on this thing, but we have B5 furniture on this thing instead. I've never really handled B5 furniture before, but for the most part, at least right now, where's Kevin at? I just heard Kevin scream. Kevin's over there. All right, so he's not in the firing line. For the most part, just from handling it with how I've handled it so far, I have not actually shot it yet. I do like the way that the B5 furniture feels. The grip is very reminiscent in terms of the contour and whatnot of just a standard M4 style grip. However, there is not that finger rest that the M4 style grip has, and it is also a different angle. Not only that, but we have this beaver tail on the back of the grip right here, and that is a lot more, what's the word I'm looking for, reinforcement for the hand, with lack of better terminology, than the M4 grip provides. So that is actually a considerably better and more comfortable grip angle. The grip angle is not nearly as curved as an M4 grip, so it just definitely feels different actually holding the rifle. I just have some Magpul, cheapo Magpul sights on this thing. Actually, I think this one's like a cheapo Chinesium sight on the back of this one right here. I'm going to go ahead, and I have no idea if they're zeroed. I literally just put them onto this rifle. Those are not staying on this rifle. I'm going to get probably some other cheap sights, like a $50 set of unbranded steel sights or aluminum sights, and something like a SIG, Romeo, whatever the hell. And that'll probably be what I put on this rifle. But we have some sort of critter on there. Get out of here. We have a T6 aluminum upper and lower receiver. I can't remember the specs for the barrel, but I know it's a 1-in-7 twist, at least I believe so. Originally, I thought that this right here was a mid-length gas system inside of this rifle, but whenever I had it set next to my Delton DTI-15, which is a mid-length gas system. The gas system on this one is actually longer, so this might be a full-length gas system inside of this rifle. I have not actually measured that out, though, so I cannot say for sure. But this is longer than the mid-length gas system that I have inside of my Delton DTI-15, so this might be full-length, and if that is the case, then the dwell time on this rifle is going to be significant, and that's going to decrease recoil and increase reliability, especially whenever we fire steel case ammunition, which is what I'm going to be firing here today. So I do like the fact that we have ourselves a quick detach sling option back here on the actual stock itself. I do like the fact that we do, on this particular model and most of your modern AR models, have a forward assist. I like that myself because sometimes with this cheap steel case ammo, it doesn't always go into battery properly, so you just got to kind of give it a little love tap going forward. I do like the M-LOK rail on this thing. The actual contour of how the rail system is, I'm not sure how well this is going to pop up on camera, but the bottom of the rail system is actually flat. And as we go up into these skeletonized sections of the rail system, that flat actually goes off onto a sharp edge. Well, not like sharp as in cut yourself, but an edge that is aggressive enough to be able to get a good solid grip on this M-LOK rail system. Sometimes with M-LOK rail systems, they can be a little on the slick side, so if you're running and gunning really quickly, you cannot necessarily get a good gripping. I've noticed a couple of times where my hand slides around like I'm 14 again. So we definitely don't want that whenever we're trying to operate a firearm. This right here is a 15-inch, I believe, M-LOK rail system, which is good for me because I can get myself a good solid grip much farther down the barrel than I normally would be able to, say with like my Delton DTI, which has a 10-inch or a 12-inch M-LOK rail system on it. It does have more mounting options on that rail system than this one right here. This right here just has the 3, 6, and 9 o'clock for M-LOK rail and a 12 o'clock picatinny rail that goes across the entire top of the firearm. Besides that, like I said, this right here does have a 1-in-7 twist barrel, so I should be able to stabilize heavier weight projectiles, which is good because that's what I use for practical purposes. But for the most part, if I'm out here plinking and whatnot, I use 55 or 62 grain projectiles, depending on what it is that I have more of. So with that being the case, this right here in a 1-in-8 twist and a 1-in-9 twist would be more than adequate for stabilizing all of those projectiles. I have not fired this yet, and originally, whenever I had done the original unboxing video, I was like, I'm going to go through, oil it, lube it, do all the things that need done. But then I was like, you know what would be really fun? Take this right out of the box and see how well it functions. We do have an A2 style birdcage flash hider on this thing, but it also doubles as a compensator. So probably going to be noticeable, much like with my Delton DTI-15, the compensator was noticeable from a standard flash hider. We didn't get a whole lot of muzzle rise, but we did get the rifle bouncing left and right a lot under recoil. Brass deflector on this thing, which is good if you're going to be shooting this thing left-handed. You don't want to end up with a bunch of brass inside of your face. That being said, the magazine that it came with, I believe that this is C Products. Right here is our little insignia on this magazine. I do not know if that is C Products or not, but hey, it's a steel mag, and I'm assuming C Products just with the design and whatnot of the magazine, but I cannot know for certain. So the what am I trying to say here? The cheap plastic sights that are on this thing, they're not going to stay on the rifle. But I had these zeroed on my Delton DTI, and this right here is the zero that was on the Delton DTI, which should shoot straight, question mark. So hopefully this right here will shoot straight on this particular rifle as well, but as we can see from the rear sight, this right here is very much not in line with the center of that rear sight. So I'm thinking the rear sight itself might just not be straight because it's just a cheap plastic molded $10 sight from eBay. Same thing with the front one, it's just definitely not ideal, but it should be question mark good enough to at least be able to run some rounds through this rifle, see what kind of group we can make. We're only at about 40 yards, but we're gonna see what it is that we have to deal with. Normally, whenever people are buying a rifle like this, they're buying it for recreational purposes or defensive purposes, and they're not buying it for extremely long-range target shooting. Typically, they would go to something higher end for something like that. So normally with your rat grade AR like this right here, you're going to get about 3 MOA. I have had some ARs that had much better accuracy than that. I got a PSA upper on a KP-15 lower retro M16 build where I've gotten sub MOA accuracy out of that with M193 55 grain ball ammunition. This right here that we're just running through this is going to be steel case, so this is probably going to be 3 MOA in and of itself. But we're going to see how it performs out of this rifle. If it does not perform all that well out of this rifle, I will swap over to a brass case, better quality ammunition, and we will see how well that runs. But I really hope that this right here cycles the steel case fine, because steel case is cheap and easy, and it's a less difficult option to get your hands on, at least for right now until the Russian ammunition ban takes place. The back of this buttstock actually has a rubber butt pad on it, which is nice. I'm not used to having that on an AR, so that should help with, you know, avoiding sliding around like a solid plastic would, but it's also squishy, so that might actually help with remediating recoil. So I have my pizza box down there. I'm going to go ahead and send 1 round down range, see if we are even on target, because if we're not on target, then it's just a waste of ammunition. This right here is with the C Products magazine that it came with. I'm going to sit you guys right there. Don't go anywhere, GoPro. Let me go ahead and just send around here. Alright, standard mil-spec trigger, nothing special about it. Lots of creep, probably about 5 pounds or so. I aimed for the top of the box, center. I'm going to walk down there with this rifle on safe and point it in this direction because it is chambered, I think, assuming it actually cycled. I'm going to walk down there, have a look, and see what it is we're dealing with. Alright, she hit right where I was aiming. Let's see if this actually cycled. Hey, it looks like we actually have one in the chamber. This is where a forward assist comes in handy because I only pulled it back a little bit and let it go forward, and we have this round that is sitting in the chamber, did not go all the way into the battery, so I just kind of push it forward a little bit. So for chamber checks, the forward assist actually does come in handy. Let me send another round downrange, the same location. Oh, did we have a malfunction? Nope. Failure to go completely into battery. Nope, we got a steel case stuck inside of the chamber. So we're going to rack this back just like that, pull this out. Now I am going to go grab a ramrod, which I should have done in the first place, and I'm going to smack that steel case out of the chamber. Alright, so I used a ramrod to knock out that spent steel casing, which was just kind of stuck inside the chamber. Not too terribly hard, but in order to try and remediate that, I went ahead and I did just spray a little bit of gun lube inside of our ejection port here and along our bolt carrier group and inside of our chamber. The gun, that is just our second round fired, so it is still going through a break-in period. If you were using brass case ammunition, perhaps you wouldn't have had that issue because this steel case stuff, it's just not quite as smooth and slick as brass. So now that we have that taken care of, let's send a couple more rounds through this thing. Hopefully I hit my target down there. Let's bring this back, let that go forward. We are in battery now. Let's send a round downrange and see if it actually cycles. Did we cycle? Sure looks like we cycled. I got a face full of oil. Oh, maybe we did not cycle, but we did eject. Okay, so we ejected, did not actually cycle around. Okay, let's try that again. There's another round. Let's see if we cycle this time. Nope, failure to cycle. Do that again. Alright, so we did cycle back far enough to actually lock open our bolt, but what I'm seeing here is that our bolt itself is not as far back as it should be. It should be back to there. We actually stopped on the magazine itself. So maybe we're having issues with the magazine with that, which is fine. We're going to go ahead and swap over to some other magazines. I'm going to walk down there and see where these rounds are hitting, see if they're all over the place or right on top of one another. I'd like to hope that they're right on top of one another. And let me see what I got going on. They are, in fact, right on top of one another. So C Products mag did not do so well. This right here is an Amend 2 mag. I believe that I've used some of these before, but they were of a different name. But they look basically identical, other than the name. So maybe they were made in the same factory to the same specifications. I do not know myself. But we are going to shove these into this rifle. Same 55 grain steel case ammunition. And let's see how well this works this time. Did we pick up a round? Yes, we did. Let's send a round downrange. There's one round. Nope, failure to cycle again. There's another round. Nope, failure to cycle again. Okay, so we are having repeated failures to cycle with this thing. There's another. Nope, failure to cycle. Essentially, this is turned. Oh, we actually cycled that time. We failed to lock open though, so our bolt is not coming back as far as it should, and I should be able to remediate that. Let's go ahead and try another mag. And this right here is KCK Made in Korea magazine. Let's go ahead, try a couple of rounds from this mag, see what we got going on. There's one round. Nope, failure to fire. That's 2 rounds. Did we cycle? We did 5. There's 3 rounds. There's 4 rounds. Hey, we actually cycled that time. And there's 5 rounds. Failure to lock open. This right here is officially turned into a bolt action AR platform. So, okay. Alright, let's keep going. Why not? Now, this is just the cheapo steel case stuff. I'll go ahead and I'll go grab some brass case ammunition and we'll see how well that stuff cycles through this thing. Let's send a couple of rounds here downrange. This right here is a hex mag. I'm not sure what generation this is. It might say on it. Nope, it says 5.56 NATO, 5.56 NATO. It does not say what generation, but I believe it's a 2nd generation. I don't think it's a 1st gen. 1 round, 3 rounds, 3 rounds. That did not sound good. Malfunction with the magazine itself. Get our round out of here. Again, this is still the break-in period for this gun, so I'm not going to be too terribly harsh on it. That's just what you get for a budget rifle. Let's shove this back in there. So far, the hex mag is working the best. There's a round. There's a round. Did not lock open on an empty magazine. Okay, well, let me go grab my box down there. This was just offhand shooting. We're at about 40 yards, probably a little over. And we'll see what it is that we have to work with. Whenever it's right out of the box, the magazine that it did not come with did not work well at all. But this is just cheap steel case. Like I said, I'm about to go grab some brass case ammo. We'll try that. The hex mag seemed to work the best. But we'll see how the rest of this goes. Alright, I figured I'd go ahead and I'd show this off. This right here is the group with the steel case ammunition that we got. It's roughly a fist-sized group at about 40 yards, which is absolutely more than adequate for offhand shooting with a defensive rifle. So that right there is not great for offhand shooting, but bear in mind that I'm using cheapo sights, and the sight picture is the front post sight takes up like half the box right here. So yeah, it's definitely not ideal. I feel like whenever I get like a 1 MOA red dot or something, we'll really be able to test the accuracy with this. Or whenever I'm from a bench rested shooting position, we'll really be able to test the accuracy of this. And whenever we're not using steel case ammo, which is like 3 MOA in and of itself. But fist size group at the 40 yards that we're at, that's adequate enough. As a matter of fact, that is probably about as adequate as what is necessary for the military M4, which is a M or 4 MOA accuracy necessary requirement. So yeah, we'll see what we get from there. Let me go grab some proper brass case ammunition. I'm going to flip this around to the side of the box that has not been shot, and then we're going to go ahead, send some lead through this one, see if that group tightens up any, see if it just does not like this steel case stuff, see how well it cycles through this rifle. So let's get started with that. Alright, so what it seems like is we don't have enough gas cycling the action for the bolt carrier to be able to come back far enough to pick up a new round, but it's coming back far enough to be able to eject rounds. A couple of things that you can do to make this issue not as bad. I did notice that the gas system in this was longer than the gas system in my DTI-15. So one thing that you could do is use better quality ammunition that has a more consistent, higher gas pressure that's probably more along the line of SAMI spec. This particular case, we are upgrading to, I got some brass case M193. This right here is the magazine that the rifle came with, so we'll go ahead and we'll test out this better quality ammunition inside of this rifle to see if it cycles properly. Another thing that you can do, and this right here is probably the easiest way, is to swap out your recoil spring, your buffer tube spring, for a lighter weight buffer tube spring, so it doesn't have so much pressure keeping that bolt carrier pushed forward. It's really not hard to do, and it's a good way to mess up the harmonics of the firearm, but if the harmonics of your firearm are already messed up, then you can only improve, in all honesty, because this right here is basically a bolt action rifle, at least with that steel case stuff. We're going to try the better quality brass case stuff, see how well that works, and worst case scenario, I still have the original buffer spring for this one, but I might get one that is decreased by 2 to 4 pounds of pressure for that recoil spring, so it doesn't quite push that bolt carrier as hard forward as it currently is. And with less pressure pushing forward, then the less gas pressure should be enough to be able to adequately push that bolt carrier back. I'll go ahead and I'll check on the gas system itself, make sure we don't have any leaks or bleed offs or anything like that. I don't believe so, otherwise I would feel it upon firing. But besides that, let's go ahead and do what we were just doing. This right here is brass case 193 55 grain projectiles at 40 yards. Same rifle, same everything. Let's see how well this works. Alright, so it does like the brass case 195 better than the steel case. Now, keep in mind that this right here is a brand new rifle. We are still running through the break-in period. So within the first 200 rounds or so, I'll probably do brass case 193, and then after that, I'll swap over to some steel case because that is the cheaper option. And I'll run a bunch of steel case through this thing, and we will see how well it cycles at that point. So I did just send a couple of rounds through our regular... here's the C Products magazine that this rifle came with. What we're going to do is I'm actually going to step a little further back. I'm going to put the camera on a tripod. I'm going to get a bench rest with this thing and send some rounds at our box at about 50 yards or so. And I want to see what kind of group we get with this rifle as opposed to me just kind of offhanding it, sending rounds downrange, seeing how well it's going to cycle. So now we're going to go ahead and go for accuracy, and upon the accuracy test, I will be testing out the other mags as well, and we'll see how well that works. Alright, there's going to be some wind noise out here because the camera doesn't have a cover or a block on it. I do apologize for that. This is a surplus military mag. I just want to bring this out and see how well this works through this rifle. I had an uneven amount of M193, so I was like, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and just bring out another mag, and this right here is a surplus one. Let's see how well this works. I don't think I have a full 5 rounds inside of this magazine, but that should still be enough to test functionality. Now, the spread we're going to have out there is going to be greater than the actual spread. Most of the rounds are going to be nice and tight and compact. But on my last magazine, I just kind of sent some rounds downrange to see how well the firearm was going to function. So now we're going to go for... Alright, so I only had 3 rounds inside of that, but it did run those 3 rounds. Up next we have the Korean mag. This right here should have 5 rounds inside of it. Send a couple of rounds. Okay, so this right here seems to like this M193. This right here is the hex mag. It is running this ammunition just fine. Did not run the steel case well though. Alright, I did pull one of those rounds a little bit left, so we might have one that is not great. And I am kind of mag dumping here. I'm not exactly doing delicate, accurate shooting. Oh god, my microphone's flopping. Get back there where you belong. But this one right here, this is the Amend 2 mag. Let's send a couple of rounds of this through there. Okay, well, that was all the mags. It cycled the M193 flawlessly. Whenever I wear this thing a little bit more, I'll try steel case ammunition again, and we will see how well the steel case stuff works with this. Alright, so this right here is what that's what a bug flying up my nose looks like. This right here is what our group looks like. Let me explain this real quick though. The rounds right here at the, I'd say from this point up, that right there was me just kind of spray and praying with the first mag just to see if the rifle was functioning. I just kind of aimed for this general area. And then I had a couple of rounds here where I was aiming the sights at around this general area, but I had realized that I did not have a good general point of aim. So I swapped my point of aim for the last like 3 magazines to this blue piece of tape right here on the left side at about the center of the box right here. This way I had a good general point of aim, you know, something I could actually aim at as opposed to just this area. So I would say this group right here is indicative of the accuracy that we would see with the rifle. It is, definitely smaller than the group that we saw with the steel case ammunition, if we are excluding the ones that I was just kind of sending lead down range with. This right here, that's still about a fist-sized group at about 50 yards, but I wasn't exactly bench rest shooting. I wasn't exactly doing any target shooting with that thing. So, like I said before, get myself some better sights on it because these Magpul iron sights are absolutely not for precision shooting. They are definitely not all that great. Or get myself a red dot for it. That will definitely increase the accuracy for it. But I can, in fact, confirm that there is no keyholing or tumbling with 55 grain projectiles. And I can, in fact, confirm that, well, if you get brass case ammunition, if you got yourself a new rifle that's not worn in yet, you get a fist-sized group at about 50 yards, which is adequate enough for home defense if you are firing offhand or from just resting your rifle on a tree, which is consistently being blown and swayed by the wind and whatnot. In a later video, I'll go ahead and I'll get myself some more 193 because that was the last of what I had. The rest of what I have is steel case ammo, which this rifle clearly does not like, at least not until it gets properly broken in. But I'm going to actually bench rest myself on a table, and I'm going to get myself proper sights for it, and I'm going to see just how accurate this rifle can be. And I feel like that right there is going to be a much better test than me just aiming for this spot on this pizza box, resting my rifle against a tree. So that being said, actually, yeah, we can compare this right here, which was all aimed shots, but that was offhand, to this right here, which was me actually resting on a tree. The group size, that is not the size of me just sending rounds down range while aiming in this general area and actually having an aim point. The group size is smaller than about the size of the palm of my hand, so that equates to about fist size or so, whereas the group size for the steel case is slightly larger, but not really large enough to matter. It's definitely going to be a few inches more of a group at 100 yards or so. This right here was just a 50-yard shooting. But once I sit down and bench rest and have, you know, an actual stable platform to be able to send lead downrange and get myself some adequate sights on that thing, we're going to really test the accuracy, but that's going to be on a later video. So I'm going to say, hey folks, thanks for watching. This was a fun one. I wish that it ran steel case a little bit better, but I'm not going to harp on it until I get past the break-in period. This is a brand spanking new rifle. So all of the surfaces and whatnot inside of the rifle still have to be worn in by rubbing against one another. That's going to smooth up and slick up the action a lot. One of the things I can do to kind of make that happen, that process happen quicker, is I can take the mag out and I can just run that action over and over and over, much like I'm 14 years old on a Friday night, bored and the parents aren't home, right? Just run that action over and over and over and try to slick up that action some as finish and wear spots wears off a little bit more and friction diminishes with that, and the springs start to wear in to the specs that they are supposed to be worn in at. So that will probably come down the road, and I'll make another video. I'll make an accuracy video. I'll make all of that. This right here was more or less testing functionality, not necessarily accuracy. I'm going to break out my table whenever it's not so windy and we're not risking rain, because we clearly have some weather coming in, and whenever I can actually sit down and put some real lead downrange. Now, I'm not expecting this to be as accurate as something that is a higher end AR. However, my PSA KP15 AR is a sub MOA AR, and that right there is very much not a high end AR-15. It's a custom build, but it's definitely not a high-end AR-15. But if you want to be around for that, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. That being said, thanks for watching, folks. Appreciate your time. Like, subscribe, share. Description below has a link to all sorts of stuff. Go check that out. You guys go off, have yourself a fantastic day. I'm going to put together my ramrod because it is also my cleaning rod, and I do shoot a lot of corrosive ammunition. Well, I stand corrected. It would appear that I have some crap inside of my ramrod, probably from whenever I had bumped it against the tree in order to get the steel case out. So I guess I will need myself a pick or something to clean that out so I can reassemble my cleaning rod. So before I do that, I guess I'll put this together. I'm going to say thanks for watching. Bring all this stuff inside before the rain comes, and I will see you guys on the next episode. Alright, real quick before I actually close out this video, I ran a bunch of rounds through this. We're through the break-in period. I made some tweaks and some adjustments and did some finagling with it. And now I got, this right here is that surplus mag. I got the mag that it came with a couple of rounds of some steel case ammo. Of course, YouTube, this right here is a 20-round magazine. Let's see how well the steel case ammo runs through this thing. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and send some lead at my steel target down there. Let's see what this does. Oh, we got ourselves one malfunction. It would appear that right there was a magazine malfunction. Oh, we got ourselves another round right there. Man, look at that. The rounds are just popping out of this thing. So that was a malfunction with the magazine. We had a round pop up over the top. Like I said, I think that this is a C Products magazine, but I could be wrong about that. So far, the firearm is functioning pretty well. And there we go. She actually locked open on an empty magazine that time. How do you like that? Alright, so after the break-in period and after just a little bit of finagling, some tender TLC love and care to get it up and going properly, looks like I can now fire steel case ammo through this pretty gosh darn well. Okay, well, let's exit and end this video. Since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. Poor man's Garen. shame that bolt action shotguns aren't more mainstream.